Hello everyone, this is Mr. Zen. Today we're going to be discussing a case that I'm sure is familiar to most of you. And this is the case about the coza pastor, Mr. Fatoimbo, and Timi Dakolo's wife, Busola Dakolo. And of which we know that we know when he came out, we know what she said, how she was raped twice, one in her father's house, one in the car, and how he gave her crest to drink. Of when it came out, I must admit I'm also guilty of falling for the hype of, oh my God, she was raped. Oh no, all these pastors of nowadays, end time pastors, blah 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 blah. We all know what we said when that stuff happened, and I think there's a lesson here to be learned. We really shouldn't rush to judge. As much as we feel the person might be guilty, we should really allow the other person to talk. It's really important before we, nail the coffin. So what happened next? After that interview, basically another lady came out and she said her own thing. I didn't really watch that interview, so I'm not going to talk about it. But we all know what the summary of that interview was. But then they went quiet. That's the Dakolos went quiet, and everything went quiet until there's this lady. I just learned of her recently. Kemi Olunloyo. She calls herself a doctor, but I don't know. She says she's a doctor, but at the same time she's a pharmacist. How can you be a pharmacist and a doctor? Then you say you have three class degrees. You are also a journalist. Only you. Come on, people really don't take her seriously because reasons like this. She was deported from the US. She ran to Canada, and she was deported from Canada right back down to Nigeria. I mean, how do you take someone like that seriously? It's ridiculous. But she decided to investigate this case where nobody else really was interested. We pretty much had concluded that Koza Pastor was guilty. But then she starts coming up with some really interesting findings. Initially, when she started coming up with the findings, I was like, what are you talking about, woman? This isn't important. Why are you bothering to leave the matter to die? But then, when you say you are raped and you say you go to babysit for a child that wasn't born at the time, because you say the rape thing happens in 1999, 2000, thereabout. Uh, Koza Pastor's baby girl wasn't born then. I'm not really sure. I couldn't get the date where she was born, actually, but it seems nobody has countered it. I gave you some days. Nobody has refuted it that she was born. She wasn't born the time when Busola said the second rape happened when she went to the house to babysit. And I was like, no, because someone told me previously that they had lost a child before then. So I was like, no, maybe it's the child they lost. Then I went back to the interview. Busola clearly stated that she carried Shindara. So she meant Shindara. So if there is just no way out of that, they have to prove that it happened the time she said it happened, because that's going to bring a serious problem to the credibility of the case, credibility of their claims. Because if that didn't happen in time it happened, then how do we know any other thing you said is true? Even if it did happen and you mixed a lie with the truth, everything becomes a lie. So you have to, withdraw your case from court. Then there is the issue of her sister not really showing support. In fact, one of them said on her Instagram that she was kind of praising the Koza pastor. And another thing is, I think Crest was drawn. Crest might not have been in the market that year when she said it happened. Well, the second one happened. Still on that, Crest might have been pulled from the market. So okay, the first rape. So the whole Crest thing might not even be true. And generally, the truth is, even Timi Dakolo's actions, well, I think he's just an angry man that found out. I don't think he might not have known about this when they got married. I think he might have found out recently, hence the way he's acting out and all that. So I wouldn't say that he's wrong to have just, be online and screaming that his wife was raped. People handle things in different ways. I'm not going to judge him for that. But the thing here is Kemi Olunloyo, as much as she's controversial, cantankerous, or whatever, we have to give her some credit for the work she did. In the end, I think there are many questions and inconsistencies in the whole thing. Because if something really happened to you, then everything should make sense. If you are giving the story exactly as it happened, if you tell the truth for 10 years, the story will not change. But if you lie, you tell different story every time you're asked. So my personal opinion is, let's just let it be. Maybe Busola lied, maybe she did not. The truth will come out one way or another. And I also don't think that Kemi Olunloyo has brought out any information that the Fato Ibus don't already know, because they would probably have watched that video and seen all the gaps in her story, and started building a case around that. So one way or the other, it's gonna play out the way it's gonna play out. If she lied, well, then that's going to be a serious problem. It's really going to set back actual rape victims, because now they will all be afraid to come out, because see what happened to that lady. Some people will still not believe she lied and all that, but it's really going to be a mess. But I'll just say, personally, I think that, you see, as a pastor, you should be held to a higher standard. If you don't, how do I put it? If you don't hang around a pot of meat all the time, nobody's going to say you stole a pot of meat. You stole meat from the pot. If nobody has ever seen you hanging around that pot, sniffing the meat and all that. So I think pastors should be really careful how they conduct themselves around their members. If you really don't want someone to say you did something, then don't put yourself in a position where things can be misinterpreted in future. And if you did do something, just know it might catch up to you one day in a form you don't expect at the time you really do not want it to happen. So guys, that's just my 2 cents on it. This matter, I think, is just best let it die down. Just let it die down. Let the courts handle it from now. I really don't even want to think about it anymore. There's just so much more happening in Nigeria to think about. Let's just forget about this woman and forget about it. She has come out. Now it's in court. Thank you very much. I wish coza Fato Imbo the best. He seems like a nice guy, but even nice guys can be weak sometimes. And Sola, sorry if that happened to you. I hope you get justice. But if you lied, I hope Fato Imbos get justice. Okay, guys, take care now. Have a nice day. Talk to you another time. Bye.